We all get applause. We all get applause. I'm a millennial too. And so there are changes that happen across generations, but I want to particularly talk about the millennial generation today because in the millennial generation, things are changing with the way that people interact with religion. They're really changing. Here's a statistic for you. 33%, so a third of the people in my generation say they have no religious affiliation. That's not, I don't go to church on Sunday or synagogue on Saturday. That's, do you have a faith community? Not really. Not really. 33%. It's 20% of American adults as a whole, across all ages, and that has doubled since the 1990s. This is happening really fast. Have you all heard this statistic before? Have you heard this? This is yes, this is no. This is a little bit of yes, a little bit of yes, some, okay. Not such a strange thing. The other thing that I want to point out about when we talk about millennials is that millennials is a way to enter this conversation, but really there's a universal design principle at work here that if we can think about what it would take to be a valuable place for millennials, those are actually changes that are going to benefit and be sought out by people across the age spectrum. So I just want to keep that in mind, that even though we're approaching this from a millennial place, that it's really about everybody. I want to show you just one graph about this to make this point crystal clear. This is from the Pew Forum, great polling group out there, and this is a graph of people who say they have no religious affiliation, and each one of these trend lines right here is a different generation. So this is the World War II generation. This is the silent generation, baby boomers, Xers, millennials. And this graph is actually a few years old, so the millennial dot there only says 26%. That was 2010, now it's 33. And the cool thing about this graph is that this dot, and that dot are all at the same points of life. So what you're seeing here is that even though, you know, religious practice does tend to change a little bit over your lifetime, maybe when you have kids you come back, it's still a big difference between the generations. It's still a big difference. So we can't just look at this and say, well, young people maybe just don't want to go to church, not in their 20s, not in their teens, but they'll come back. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? And I'll just point out that every survey that's out there that has looked at these numbers is coming to the same conclusion. That's a little zoom in if you can't see it. So, okay, why is this happening? Why is this happening? We are good people. We do good things. We do good in the world. We know this. And yet these changes are going on around us. Well, there's a couple theories. One is around clergy misconduct and mistrust in church hierarchies. And even though that has been concentrated in certain faith traditions more than others, everybody gets tagged with it. So that's one theory. Religious politicization, the rise of the religious right, the Christian Coalition is another one, that they've sort of owned the term religion and taken it away from the rest of us. Another is changing life patterns, the things that would bring people back to church, weddings, baby dedications, and so on. Those things are changing in people's lives. People are getting married later, or maybe not at all, or they're having kids later, or not at all. And so you can't count on those things as like a hook to bring you back. And those are all good, but this is the one that I want to focus on today. And it's around not anything to do with our beliefs or our positions. It's all around institutions. So let me tell you why I want to focus on this. A couple years ago, there's a group out there called Barna. They surveyed young Christians, so not necessarily a lot of UUs, but they looked at young Christians who are leaving church. And they asked them, why are you doing this? Why are you leaving the church you grew up in? And they gave them 6 reasons. These are the first 5. Churches seem overprotective. Churches come across as antagonistic to science. Churches are judgmental related to sexuality. They're exclusive about theology and unfriendly to those in doubt.